Paragraph styles provide the control that you need to efficiently format text consistently within an InDesign document. In addition, there are many features in InDesign that rely on the fact that you've used paragraph styles to format text in a document. So it definitely makes sense to learn how to use them efficiently. Let's take a look. I'm beginning this video with the paragraphstyles.indd file already open. And I'm going to go ahead and navigate to page 3 of my document. And you can see that we have some text that has been flowed into this document. And it's raw text, it's unformatted, it's just the default style that's used inside of InDesign. So the first thing we want to do is open up our Paragraph Styles panel. So we'll go to the Window menu, go to Styles, and choose Paragraph Styles. And I'm going to go ahead and dock this, along with the Character Styles panel, over here in my panel dock because we're definitely going to be using this later on. Now, if I click inside of this text, you're going to notice that if I open up my Paragraph Styles panel, you can see that the basic paragraph style is applied to text by default inside of InDesign. And basic paragraphs is exactly that. It's the default style that's defined inside of InDesign. Now, we want to create our own custom style. So what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in on this first paragraph. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to slide this over so we can see the whole paragraph. I'm going to go ahead and highlight the entire paragraph. And once again, if you want to make sure that you know where the paragraph ends, just go to the Type menu and choose Show Hidden Characters. You can also use the keyboard shortcut Command-Option-I on Mac or Control-Alt-I on Windows. Now we're going to do a general format just to this paragraph to start. So I'm going to go to my character formatting up here. Go ahead and change our font to Minion Pro. I'm going to go ahead and choose Minion Pro. We'll make it Minion Pro Regular. I'm going to set the point size to 10 point and the leading to 13. Now, in addition, most of the body copy that we're going to be using has a first line indent applied. So we're going to go ahead and go to our paragraph formatting now. And in the first line indent field, we're going to type 1P for 1 pica, and I'll press Enter. Now, that paragraph pretty much looks the way that I want all of my text to look. So we're going to create a style out of it. Now, the important thing to remember is that before we create the style, we've formatted the text the way we want it to appear. And because it's a paragraph style, I don't actually have to have any text selected. All I have to do is be clicked inside of that paragraph. Now, what we're going to do to create the style is I'm going to hold down the Option key on Mac or the Alt key on Windows. And I'm going to come down here to the bottom of the Paragraph Styles panel, and I'm going to click on the Create New Style button. Now, do you have to hold down the Option or Alt key? You do not. You can just click on that button and you'll be able to create a new style. But by default, it's just going to name every style, paragraph style 1, 2, 3, and so on. And by holding down the Alt or Option key, I'm able to give the style a name right away, something that's more appropriate to what I'm doing. So in this example, I'm going to name this style Body. Keep it simple, but explicit, and something that's going to remind you what this style is used for. And what I'm also going to do is choose this Apply Style to Selection checkbox. So you can see because I was clicked inside of the text, it's recording all of the properties inside of the paragraph that I'm clicked inside of. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And now you can see that we have a new style called Body that is applied to this first paragraph. If you click on Basic Paragraph, you can see it goes back to what the basic paragraph is defined as. And if I click on Body, it's going to now apply that style. Now, notice I don't have any text selected, because remember, this is a paragraph style, and it can only format the entire paragraph. If I wanted to, I could highlight just a word. But if I click on Body, its only option is to do the whole paragraph. So I pretty much want to apply this style to all of the text in this story. So I'm just going to press Command-A on Mac or Control-A on Windows to select all of the text, and then I'm going to click on Body. With one click, I've now formatted all of that text in the same way. So if I press Command-0 to zoom out, and I go to the next page, we can see that all of this text is being formatted exactly the same. Looks good. Now, I'm going to go back to the previous page, page 3 here. And this first paragraph is a little bit different because this should have a drop cap applied. So I'm going to click inside of this paragraph and I'm going to make a couple of changes. In the paragraph formatting, I'm going to go ahead and reduce the first line indent to 0. I want to get rid of that. And then for the drop cap, I'm going to increase the number of lines to 6. And that's going to create a 6-line drop cap for that text. Now take a look over here in your paragraph styles panel. We can see that body, which was originally applied to this text, now has a plus sign next to it. And that plus sign indicates a local override. It means that I've done more formatting to this text than what body is actually defining. And if you hover your cursor over it, you can see that the override is the drop cap and the first line indent. Now, you have a couple of choices when you have an override. You can leave it go as is. It's not going to hurt anything, and we still have body applied, but we have some overrides. The other option is to hold down your Option or Alt key and click on that style. That's going to wipe out any overrides that you have applied. Now, I'm going to undo that because in this case, I don't want to wipe it out. I want to create a new style. So I'm going to hold down Option or Alt and click the Create New Style button. Now, I want to point something out here. Where it says Based On, it's choosing body. And that's because I originally had the body style applied. So what it's doing is it's saying, you know what, you already had body applied, but you're making a change. So we're going to base everything on body and then just add the overrides that you have applied. So I'm going to give this style a name. I'm going to call it Body Drop Cap, something that I know is going to describe what the style is going to do. We'll apply the style to selection and then click OK. And we can see now that if I choose body, that's the normal body style. If I choose body drop cap, there's the drop cap style. Now let's do one more paragraph style here. This one's going to be a lot more fun. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select this text, and we're going to change the font, make sure we're using Minion Pro, but I'm going to make this a little bit larger. We're going to make it bold, make it stand out a little bit more, so we'll make it Minion Pro Bold. Point size, we're going to go ahead and make that 17 point, and the leading we're going to make 21. Give it plenty of room here. Now, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to come down here to my swatches panel, and we're going to apply the pull quote gradient style to this. And you can see that we're applying a gradient to this text. Now, what we're also going to do is I'm going to click inside of this text, and I'm going to come way up here in my control panel to the panel menu. And I'm going to choose Paragraph Rules. And this allows me to apply a rule either above, below, or both to this paragraph. So I'm going to choose Rule Above. I'm going to turn the rule on, and I'm going to make sure that my preview is on so I can see what I'm doing. Now I'm going to change the weight of the rule to 3 points. I'm going to change the color to black. I don't want that to have a gradient. And then for the type of rule, I'm going to choose the thin rule. Now, one last thing, your paragraph rule always begins from the baseline of your text. So for the offset, I'm going to go ahead and type 2p in the field and then hit the tab key to apply a 2 pica offset to that rule. In the drop-down menu, I'm going to choose Rule Below and essentially do the same thing, but for the bottom rule. Turn the rule on, make it 3 points in size, and set the color to black. Now, this offset needs to be 1 pica. There we go. And we'll change the type of rule to thin once again. Now, the other thing is that I'm making the width of the rule the width of the frame or the column. And that's going to make sure that the rule is the same width as the text. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now, while I'm clicked inside of this text, we'll go to our Paragraph Styles panel, Option or Alt click on the Create New Style button, and we're going to call this style Pull Quote. Apply style to selection. We'll go ahead and click OK. Now I'm going to press Command 0 on my Mac and Control 0 on Windows, and I'm going to scroll down to the next page. Here we have a pull quote as well. So I'm going to click inside of there. I'm going to apply the pull quote style, and now this is formatted in the exact same way. You know what? I think we have one more down here on the last page. Click on that, apply pull quote, And you can see how efficient this is. Now, there's one other problem here. You'll notice that all of these pull quotes have hyphens in them. I should say all except for this one here, but the first one and the last one have hyphens. Now, we could do a lot of modifications to try to fix that. However, we could also just click inside of here, go to our paragraph formatting, and uncheck hyphenate. And that's going to fix our problem. Now, the one thing is that's a local override. And remember, we have the plus sign now. So you remember we could option click on that, and that's going to strip out those overrides. That's really not what I want to do. So I'm going to undo that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, you know what? I know I have overrides, but I want the change that I made to this text to become part of the style. So if I right-click on pull quote with a plus sign, you can control-click if you don't have a two-button mouse, I'm going to choose Redefine Style. When I do that, you're going to notice the plus sign disappears. The no hyphenation property now becomes part of the style. And if I go down to the last page, you'll see that that updated in every case of the pull quote that I used in this document. So you can see how efficient these styles can be. Paragraph styles provide a lot of power, control, and consistency when formatting content in InDesign. Make good use of them, and you'll reap the rewards of efficient updating and application of content in your own documents.